Why do I always get depressed in February, and what can I do to make it better? I really love planning. I've always liked reviewing things, going over, trying to figure out patterns and figure out why I feel the way that I feel. That's partially because I deal with chronic illness and I need to keep track of flares, but also it's just how I'm wired. I've always had a difficult time, I would say, battling depression from a pretty early age. But I've noticed lately, the past few years, that in regards to patterns, it always gets worse certain months. So this year I'm trying to be prepared. I know that it gets extra bad November and then February into March. So basically the beginning of winter and at the end of winter, beginning of spring. And in all honesty, it's something that has several reasons. I mean, there's physiological reasons, there's psychological reasons, but it's not just me, it's a lot of people. So why are they called the sad months? Sad and the sad months doesn't actually mean that you're just sad or down in the dumps. It's short for Seasonal Affective Disorder, and it's an actual thing. Some of the symptoms can include changes in appetite, oversleeping, having low energy, as well as depression and anxiety. But what actually causes it? Yes, outfit change 2 days later. It seems to be more common in places that are further away from the equator. So living in Sweden, that definitely qualifies. Things seem to point to it being vitamin D deficiency and lack of sunlight that has a huge effect on it. So what happens if you have vitamin D deficiency and you live in a country where it is mainly dark the majority of the time for like 6 months? We know that vitamin deficiencies are bad, obviously, because that's why they are a deficiency. We need them for a reason. So vitamin D deficiency can do a lot of stuff that's not good when it comes to your bones and your joints and whatever. But what it has to do kind of with the seasonal affective disorder is more the fact that it messes with your melatonin and serotonin levels. A lot of people take melatonin to sleep, but we actually also produce it naturally in our bodies. So the problem is that throughout the rest of the year, when we're being exposed to sunlight, as you go about your day and your body's like doing its thing, being exposed to sunlight, it's midnight. You wouldn't think it, but that's what you get when you go up north. And producing melatonin, the sun is repressing the melatonin and it's kind of building up throughout the day. When it gets dark and the sun goes bye-bye, you don't have that repression of the melatonin anymore, and the buildup or the sort of depot that you've been collecting throughout the day gets released into your system and you get tired and it helps you sleep. If you don't have that exposure to sunlight and nothing is really repressing it and keeping it building up, you're constantly sort of leaking melatonin in your system throughout the day. You're not getting that proper buildup. It messes with your entire cycle. And sunlight is how we get the majority, I would say, of our vitamin D. You can get it through a bunch of things, but if you don't have it throughout the darker half of the year, taking some extra could be a good idea. Vitamin D itself is one of the things that activates the synthesis of serotonin in our brains. And serotonin is the hormone that we need for regulating our mood, cognitive things, issues with memory and learning and well-being, our reward system and all of that. So when we don't have optimal synthesis of serotonin in our brains, we're not feeling so great. So what can you do? Well, I mentioned vitamin D supplements are a really good thing to do during the winter months or the darker part of the year. If you're getting it the rest of the year, that's great. But I know that a lot of people say that if you live up here in Scandinavia, vitamin D supplements are really important and can be really good. Another thing is getting sunlight. So going out for walks, spending time outside in nature is good for several reasons, and this is definitely one of them. It's difficult when I find, especially, I wake up in the morning this time of year and it's dark. I go to work, and then by the time I'm done with work, the sun's gone down and it's dark again. And it's like, where the heck did the sun go? I haven't seen it in ages. So with me trying to be prepared, this year I'm trying something new, which is one of those sun lamp things that I got for Christmas. And I really like it. I find that it just literally brightens things up. That makes sense. But I feel like it's helping a lot so far. I think, honestly, I've been skeptical to the concept of just sitting in front of a lamp for half an hour, but it's kind of nice. Like, I set the timer on it to half an hour, and then I just kind of have it sitting next to me when I'm doing things on the computer, just kind of simulating regular sunlight in the brighter months, I guess. And I do feel like it's improving my mood. I guess it's one of those things that you go, you know what, it's not gonna hurt. And I think that's kind of where you have to go with stuff like that. Like, try things. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not, but if it ain't gonna hurt, you might as well give it a shot. For a long time, I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna try it, it can't be super expensive because I don't want to invest a ton of money into something and then it was kind of poop. But the good thing is that you can find them. The one that I have is from Amazon, I'm pretty sure. And I don't think it was super, super pricey either. They come in a wide range. This one is like a USB kind of thing where you just plug it into the computer and just set the timer on it. And you can kind of adjust if you want a colder light or a warmer light. I usually like the warmer ones. And it's really nice. It gives me that cozy, good feel. And you kind of have to go for glimmers, I think. What's a glimmer? Well, a glimmer is the opposite of a trigger. So instead of something that makes you feel bad or makes you feel crappy, it's something that makes you feel, It's similar to, I would say, the concept of a dopamine menu that people have been talking a lot about lately. Finding little things that sort of trigger feeling good. But there are certain things that make you feel good. It could be a hot cup of chocolate. It could be your favorite TV show. It could be your favorite craft, like knitting, doing something like that, reading a good book, going for a walk. All of those things that don't necessarily need to be a huge thing, but they glimmer. They give you a little bit of that feeling. I have really been kind of excited about the concept of a dopamine menu. Like, obviously we're talking about serotonin and melatonin, but dopamine is another one of those things that is really important for our sense of well-being. And there's been a lot of talk about how we are addicted to dopamine through lots of bad things, like, scrolling on your phone. But dopamine isn't all bad. A lot of times it can help us, obviously, feel good. That's why we want it in the first place. But there are good ways and good things that we can do for ourselves that trigger that dopamine and that feeling of feeling good. And I think it's sort of identifying those things and saying, okay, this is something that I know triggers that feeling, and it doesn't cost me all that much. I know that certain days, because of my chronic pain issues, I might have a difficult time going out for a walk. I can still put on that sun lamp and enjoy the light. I can still do other things. Like it might be the kind of day where I get joy and happiness from having a delicious cup of tea in front of a fire or it's different things. So I am most definitely going to be making my own dopamine menu, which is a thing that's kind of been going around the interwebs lately, where you kind of divide things up into like how long they take, how much of an effort you have to put in for them. Like some things could be a starter. Some things could be like a main course, which would maybe take a little bit longer time. And some things are dessert. And when I say dessert, it's like, okay, it's fine, but you maybe don't do it every day. So I guess, like, for me, a starter would be a cup of tea. That would qualify as a starter for me. I would say that reading a book, I want a little bit more time to do that. Like, yeah, I can read for 5 or 10 minutes, but I prefer to do it maybe in half an hour, something like that. Just having your quiet time, or maybe going for a jog might be a little bit more strenuous, but you know that you're going to feel great afterwards. Like those kind of things. And then I would say for me, dessert would probably be watching maybe a few episodes of a series or something like that, because I have a tendency to get stuck and binge TV shows. That's one of the reasons I don't usually put on TV shows after a certain time in the evening, because I know that I have a tendency to hyper focus and get stuck, and then it's like,
dude, it is 2 a.m. Go to sleep. You're messing with your melatonin levels, and we know that's not good.
So that's kind of where I'm at this time of year, this week. I'm going to be making my own dopamine menu, like a real actual menu style. I would love to hear what you guys, like, what are your glimmers? What makes you feel really good? It's important to kind of stop and think about them and acknowledge them once in a while. Anyway, if you guys do like these videos, make sure to click like, subscribe, leave a comment. That's a glimmer for you. And I'll see you guys back here next week. Bye-bye.